In the top stories, first batch of step workers to be regularized. Calls for a new minimum wage for workers pervade May Day rally, and hundreds flee home in U.S. Southwest as wildfire advances. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Major Newscast. Today's Tuesday, the 3rd of May. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, in his 2022 Labor Day address on Monday, Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris stated that the Team Unity administration is now ready to bring the full batch of step workers fully into the public service as part of its regularization process.
The Select Committee and the Human Resource Management Department have successfully completed the work necessary to facilitate the integration of the first group of step workers into the public service as government auxiliary employees.
The Prime Minister also noted that hundreds of people received letters offering permanent employment with the government over the last 2 weeks. Being regularized as government auxiliary employees will provide a measure of job security for step workers that they currently do not enjoy as interns on a job placement program.
This is clearly an example of our government investing in our people as we provide better job security for a relatively large number of our citizens and residents.
The Prime Minister also indicated that the regularization of the remaining step workers will be pursued over the coming months. And continuing our coverage of the Prime Minister's Labor Day address on Monday, citizens and residents can also benefit from an additional concession of value-added tax and import duty on some items, Prime Minister Harris said.
Fifthly, we will further extend for an additional 6-month period, that is, from July to December 2022, the removal of VAT and import duty on hygiene items and the removal of import duty and customs service charge on selected items such as vegetables, fruits, fruit juices, cough, cold preparations, and vitamin supplements.
During the address, Prime Minister Harris also congratulated workers on the internationally recognized day and announced a 10% increase in salaries for civil servants, among other benefits. The Department of Agriculture is reminding the general public and businesses that you are required to obtain a plant import permit from the department before placing any order to import plants, plant products, or regulated articles. In a press release issued on Monday, the department said plants, products, and regulated articles include seeds, live plants, cut flowers and branches, plant cuttings, fruits and vegetables, and regulated articles such as sand, soil, and aggregates. A completed application form for an import permit should be submitted to the plant quarantine unit at the Department of Agriculture before ordering the products, as a pest risk analysis must first be conducted to determine if the products will be allowed entry. Standard conditions for entry into the Federation include the importer obtaining a phytosanitary certificate or plant health from the country of export, inspection of the goods on arrival by a plant quarantine inspector, and the consignment should be free from pests, diseases, and soil. The department also stated these measures are necessary to prevent the introduction of foreign plant pests and diseases into the Federation, and they anticipate your cooperation in the interest of protecting plant health and ensuring food security. The release says failure to follow import protocols will result in seizure of goods. For further queries, persons can contact the Department of Agriculture Plant Quarantine Unit at Lagreet at 467-1826 or 1827, or you can email plantquarantine@gov.kn. Moving now to news on the regional scene. In Ghana, after a 2-year hiatus, hundreds of workers donned the traditional red and took to the streets on Sunday under the banners of the Federation of Independent Trade Unions of Ghana and the Ghana Public Service Union, among others, as they observed Labor Day 2022. Tariq Braithwaite filed this report.
Members of the FITOC and the Guyana Agriculture and General Workers Union, GAWU, made their way to the National Insurance Scheme, GRONG, at Carifesta Avenue, while the other unions end up at the Critchlow Labour College. Though there is need to celebrate the journey thus far, President of the General Workers Union, Norris Witter, sought to remind the public that the journey is far from over and Guyanese are now facing their biggest challenge ever.
We are meeting at a time when the working people of Guyana is seriously challenged. It is paradoxical that in the midst of plenty, oil wealth, gold, diamond, forestry, you can name all the natural resources, that there are still a large number of Guyanese that go to bed hungry.
Witter noted that now Guyana is a successful oil-producing nation. It should be the goal of the government to ensure that the minimum wage of workers is increased.
Despite this enormous proven oil discovery, it is unimaginable that the minimum wage remains $44,200 since 2019.
Witter is adamant that further, it should be the aim of the government to abolish income tax, increase all pensions and public assistance, and also improve the current collective bargaining system.
To abolish income tax and to increase substantially old age pension, NIS pension, and public assistance.
This is Tarek Prophet reporting for HGP Nightly News.
In Trinidad and Tobago, the statement "No Child Left Behind" must apply to all children, including those with special needs. This is the call from one advocate who says the statement is not necessarily true and called for a change in the mindset of the population. Here, Anyana Carter of TTT News has more in this report.
But I'm telling you, where are our children today? They are not only left behind, but they have been forgotten.
In her remarks during the formal opening of the Day of Fun for Special Needs Children on Friday, Osana Foundation representative Bernice Jack made an appeal for persons to make a commitment of inclusion of special needs children in all aspects of life.
Our children matter. Our special needs children matter. They can function. They can be taught to function in the society, to make their own groceries. They can be taught to work.
Chairman of the Trinidad and Tobago chapter of Disabled People International, Dr. Emmanuel Hussein, said that the time had come for the people of Trinidad and Tobago to be more aware of the 15% of persons living with disabilities. He also called for more thought to be given for the accessibility and inclusion of persons with special needs at public places such as the airport and schools.
The place for able-bodied children to know about disabled children is in the schools. When will our children learn what it is like to meet a child in a wheelchair, a child who cannot hear, a child who cannot see, a child who is autistic, a child who may be mentally challenged? We need to do that in our schools. Otherwise, we will have adults who know nothing about disability.
Ms. Jack said there is hope for persons with special needs and encouraged parents and caregivers to continue advocating for inclusion.
All these children have purpose. Parents, I am speaking to you. I know how hard it is. I know how frustrated we can be. There are times when we want to hold our head and bawl because our children and how, things are happening to them. But today, I come to you with hope and thanksgiving for what I see here and the people who are willing to care for our children.
Ayana Carter, TTT News.
Internationally, wind-whipped flames raced across pine-covered mountainsides in the U.S. state of New Mexico on Monday, forcing residents to flee their homes and leading to the evacuation of the state's psychiatric hospital. Al Jazeera's Bob Reynolds reports.
The biggest active wildfire in the U.S. is tearing through drought-stricken forests in New Mexico, threatening homes and forcing thousands of residents to flee for their lives.
By 9 o'clock, 9:30, the smoke in the valley was so thick you needed a butter knife to cut through it. So it came on really fast, and at that point, that's when the law enforcement came by to tell us to get out.
The fires are visible from outer space. Firefighters are dropping flame retardant from helicopters and building fire breaks with bulldozers. A high school gym has been set up as an evacuation center. The fire has burned for nearly a month, destroying 300 houses and other structures. Dozens of small towns have been evacuated in the rugged Sangre de Cristo mountains. Some residents in Las Vegas, New Mexico, east of Santa Fe, have decided to stay and fight the flames themselves.
This is my home. I got to protect it, you know. I wet down my property, you know, with a hose.
The weather forecast doesn't hold out much hope.
There's some bad winds coming up. Wednesday night, Thursday, really strong. So it was, if they don't contain it by Wednesday, we're going to be in real trouble.
Large new fires also broke out in Arizona and several other states. According to U.S. agencies, wildfires have burned more than twice as much land this year as in the same period of 2021. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera.
And now for the weather. Current conditions are cloudy with slight haze. The temperature is 29 degrees Celsius or 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds are east today and east-northeast by tonight, where speeds will range from 9 to 16 miles per hour, becoming lighter occasionally. Seas are moderate with waves of 3 to 5 feet. Relatively dry and stable conditions associated with a high-pressure system will keep weather conditions generally settled over the next 24 hours. Weather forecast in St. Kitts and Nevis for today and tonight will be partly cloudy with a 20% or slight chance of showers. Sunset today will be at 6:32 p.m., sunrise tomorrow at 5:43 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.